Rick?
I confirm that a quorum, is that working? Is that on?
Yes, sir.
I confirm that a quorum of members exists and remains because of the members present and by proxy. Further, I confirm proper notice was sent to all members of record.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Thank you, sir. Second? Agenda is approved. Oh, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you. Huh? Walt just reminded me I need to ask if anybody is opposed. Thank you. Welcome everyone to the 52nd annual meeting of the membership of the Lake of the Woods Association. Before we begin some presentations and acknowledgments, I want to remind everyone later in the agenda on item 6, we'll be taking some questions from members. This is your meeting. This is not a board meeting, even though all of the board members are sitting here. To ask your questions, to do it in an orderly fashion, we have some 3x5 index cards over there. You suggesting I move over there? Okay. Pardon me. Any more paperwork I need to carry with me? Okay. As a former audio guy, this would have been extremely embarrassing if I couldn't have turned on the microphone. Okay. What I was saying, there are index cards back here on the tables. If you have questions you'd like us to answer, Phil and I will field those a little bit later on item 6 on the agenda. So if you have questions during the meeting anytime, just walk over there and fill them out, and we'll be good to go when it gets to that time. And if I can't answer them, he will, and if I answer him wrong, he'll correct me. That's how it works. Welcome, everyone. This is always a fun time to get the membership together, but the main purpose, of course, today is to finalize the voting. So you have until 10:15 to cast a ballot if you have not done so. There is a ballot box outside, ballot sitting on that table. So if you haven't voted, slip out there and cast your vote, and that way you make your choices known. All righty. Where am I now? Left my stuff over there. Excuse me. Obviously, it's a good thing I am going out as president. This is a very special time. I'd like to call Bill Belt up to the front, please. While he's making his way up here, Bill Belt has served on the Lake of the Woods Fire and Rescue for 43 years. He began as quite a young man. Oh, and it's our privilege and honor to present the Lake of the Woods Fire and Rescue Company with this check for $42,000. Anything you'd like to say?
No, I just thank the committee for the support.
He said he thanks the committee for the support, but anything, you're welcome to say anything you like.
I've enjoyed myself here in the 43 years.
Well,
I'm currently employed by road maintenance. I'm good to go.
Wonderful, sir. We thank you for all you do. The next recognition I'd like to do is a group that I hope to join 3 days from now. I see some of them out here in the crowd today. These are people that have volunteered to serve on the board of directors and eventually were talked into serving as president. I'd like them to stand up. I see out here, I've got Jennifer Sikowski, Cliff Wilkes. Jeff Flynn out there somewhere. Jeff, where'd you go? Lee Frame. These are people that have made possible what we have here today, this building we're standing in, all of the things that we have and enjoy here at Lake of the Woods. Those are the ones that drove the... Oh, Leighton, my goodness. We want to thank you all for your service. You can sit while I flap my mouth about you just a little bit. Again, they brought us to where we are today. Without their work, without their dedication, and without their foresight, we wouldn't have what we have here at Lake of the Woods and the things that we get to enjoy all the time. The blood, sweat, and tears they put into this job, I know what it's like. And again, I'm happy to join their ranks on Wednesday. So thank you all. I'd also now like to recognize our current board members. Starting down on the far end, Carl Clausen. Carl is our go-to guy, anything construction related. That's when it's a question, contracts, how things should be done, he's the one we go to. Jennifer Sikowski, former president, again, and she is the one that taught me to tone it down and be gracious and graceful. Cliff Wilkes. Cliff is our go-to guy on anything of parliamentary nature. He knows it backwards, forwards. I think he co-wrote Robert's Rules of Orders. I'm not sure. But anyway. And Walter Dirks. Walt is our legal expert. He is an attorney, he is a partner in a law firm. He is also the guy that beat me by 9 votes, caused me to run for a second term after 1 year. I'm just saying. So I had 4 years thanks to Walt. Thank you, Walt. Terry Vickery. Terry has a deep financial background and as vice president did such a wonderful job with our committees. After coming out of COVID, when I was a vice president, I didn't do such a hot job with it. She has stepped up and done just an amazing job with our committees, got them all just working hard and helped with all of the overseeing the rewrite of our charters, et cetera. Thank you, Terry. Rick Rappaport. When it comes to anything related to safety and security, you can't do better than a former chief of police. And that's what we have in Rick. He served up in at Fairfax. He is so knowledgeable on things. When I want to get off the rails of what we can and can't do, Rick is the one that tempers what we can and can't do. So Rick, thank you so much for your expertise. Those are our board members. So now, I would like all of our committee chairs in attendance to please stand up. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the people that are the backbone and the workhorses for what we do here at Lake of the Woods. The research and development arm, if you will, about somewhere, 120, 200 people, 21 committees, probably with 8 people on them. I can't do the math that fast. And this is how things get done here. Everything doesn't just happen from the 7 of us sitting up here. A lot of research goes into it, a lot of just tremendous hours of work that goes in to everything we do around here. And without the committees, quite frankly, the place would not run. So thank you all for what you do. It's time now for Phil to do his report, but I just want to say a couple of words about what Phil has done for us in this last year. Going into a budget cycle that was predicted to be 6.2%, some very tough decisions had to be made in budgeting. Phil and his staff worked on that, and Walt called the alarm that we can't do our normal 2 to 3%. It's going to be 6.2%. Well, and he was correct, and it exceeded that. It got to 9%, but Phil and his staff did such a wonderful job on that. And all of that work to get things done. Then something called Winter Storm Frida came along. Oh, boy, you talk about throwing a wrench in the works, but the staff, Phil got the staff taking care of so many things here. We did something that we've never done, opened up 9.9 to let people just get everything out of the yards, everything off of the common grounds. It's just been a tremendously difficult year. So, Phil, I thank you for all you've done this year. All right, thank you, sir. Okay.
Thanks, Pete. And don't sell yourself short, man. You're an awesome president. We appreciate you, don't we? Yeah?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, it's good to see you all. Good morning. There's so much I have to talk to you about, and it's hard to put everything in here. So I may touch lightly on something you think is very important. I want to just mainly just give you a picture of what's gone on this year, and I would appreciate your kind attention. We've got some slides to show you along the way, but when we get to the horse pictures, that means we're at the end. Okay, so when you see the horses, that's a good sign. So there's a lot of good statistics in this, and I hope you get something out of it. So good morning. It's my honor to stand before you for the 11th time to give the annual report, which summarizes the year and discusses some of our future challenges. We're 4 months into a new fiscal year, and overall our performance shows that we're off to a good start and versus the budget, and our financial condition remains solid. So as of August 31st, our assessment collections are on target at 81%. Our balances in the reserve funds are 5.9, and that is adequate to cover the remaining capital spending requirements of 4.7, which includes continuing to pay down our loan on the Clubhouse Area Recreation Complex project. The outstanding balance is $1.7 million, and we continue to pay that down and get a little bit ahead every year. Operating cash stands at $3.1 million. So assessment delinquency rate for the last year was at 1.5 in April, and we've been able to whittle it down to just under 1%. And you compare that to an industry average among community associations of 5%, that's a very healthy sign of your community that we're getting that done. And so we had our independent financial audit report to the board in August, and it came back an unqualified or a clean opinion on our finances. So let's talk about our community a little bit. Population-wise, we remain the largest concentration of homes and population in Orange County. According to the 2020 American Community Survey 5-year estimates, excuse me, lowest population is at 8,565, but I'll tell you what, it sure feels like 10,000 on a weekend like this, doesn't it? Have you seen what's going on at the gate the last couple of days? So we're at 23.5% of Orange County's population of 36,501. On April 30, LOA, this is an interesting and significant milestone. On April 30, LOA had 3,996 completed homes on the 4,260 private lots, and that was up 59 homes from the last year. And then as of the end of May, we broke the 4,000 mark with 4,002 completed homes, and as of August 31st, we have 4,019 completed homes in the community. Housing stock is a key indicator of a healthy community, and so it's good news. Between May 2021 and April 2022, the Environmental Control Committee approved 48 new home construction projects. That was down 9 from the previous year. They also approved 170 renovation projects, which is really good news, up 10 from the previous year. So over the past 12 months, we've had 443 properties change hands compared to 487 last year. And so that's down 44 properties. Our finance department issued 370 resale packages. So not everybody's getting those resale packages, which are super important, but that's down 67. Some big picture, approximately 10% of the homes in the LOA has turned over in the last year, and that's a 2-year trend. So that means more neighbors are living closer together, and 10% of them are newcomers, and they're not used to the way we do business around here. So it's a challenge all around to get the word out and get people understanding how our community works. Okay, the board of directors and management spent significant time on some board goals. 4 of the 5 were completed. Board approved actions related to maintaining financial stability. Pete was talking about some of the challenges we have with the budget. We adopted a new lakes and stormwater management plan. I'll be saying a couple more words about that. We advanced automation at our through amenity payments, and we pursued a main gate, third gate solution. And we considered a strategic plan to convert chip and tar roads to asphalt. So we have that plan in hand if we ever want to move ahead with it. So the lakes and stormwater goal is the one that's in progress because the Patrick Henry Court Drainage Improvement Project is still in design. It's not in construction yet. So when we look back at the year, what are we going to remember? Well, there were some pretty big things, and Pete touched on the first one. Winter Storm Frida came into our lives on January 3rd. I'm sure you remember that. 10 inches of snow and ice, widespread power outages, and downed trees. It took the maintenance department 3 months to clean it all up. Over 800 trees fell on nearly 500 locations. So it was an ongoing battle. The maintenance staff worked around the clock in 12-hour shifts without power to buildings for days. There was damage and debris cleanup that totaled $120,000, and we had to use our contingency money, which is sort of set aside for those kinds of things, to get through. So we'll remember that, and we hope we don't see another anytime soon. Also, we went into sort of post-COVID community living, which means that we started meeting in person again. And we started getting together at the clubhouse for newcomer receptions. I know it took us several of them to catch up to the current time. And we had sectional parties at the clubhouse as well. And the big thing is we had fireworks again. So we started coming back together as a community, which is so important to the life you live here in this community. Another big item is the new Lakes and Stormwater Management Plan got adopted on April 20. The Board of Directors formally accepted that plan, which will set the map for the next 10 years. That was done by a group called A. Morton Thomas and Associates. We call them AMT. So you're going to hear me say AMT a lot during this speech. So it's our 10-year roadmap. And it tells us what to do, and it replaces the old Williamsburg Environmental Group report. We used to talk about the WEG report. Now we talk about the AMT report. Okay. Also during this period, we had a hard time hiring staff and retaining staff. And I know some of you have noticed that we've had to curtail some of the hours at Fairways and Clubhouse. So we had a hard time keeping staff in place. And some thought it was because of our COVID requirement, but it's really because of the bigger national trend of the Great Resignation. People would just rather not come in to work. And we also saw a lot of delays in the supply chain, and some people we thank you for your patience, because a lot of times we're like, sorry, we just can't get that done yet. We're waiting for deliveries. We saw some changes at the front entrance wall. You know, our community pretty much looks the same for year on end, and now, you know, if you've noticed in the last few days, we've taken down the first section on each side. It improves the view in and for sight lines for drivers, but it also allows us to do a little bit more if we ever go ahead and pave another entrance lane there. And you may be aware that we have a study out there looking at the front gate and the main gate and a possible third gate to try to find some solutions and some relief from heavy traffic congestions at times. So also, as a surprise of sorts, FiberLink, if you've kept up with that, Orange County Broadband Authority expressed an interest in bringing fiber to the home in LOA, and the board approved a first phase agreement for Section 7. Why Section 7? Well, they're the closest to their network, so it was the easiest to hook in. And so that work is taking place, and we hope that this fall, LOA and FiberLink will sign an agreement to build out the entire community. So that was sort of a surprise. It wasn't on anybody's radar back in September, but it was wonderful news that we have that fiber to the home coming our way. There were significant personnel changes. Eric Barnes got promoted to Golf Pro Shop manager. Paul Gordon became our grounds foreman. Sierra Longfellow to assistant clubhouse manager. Thomas Brady to chef. Gabby Barone to senior accountant. Michael DeMeo to staff accountant. Lisa Nagshane to communications coordinator. And Jamie McGuire to digital coordinator. Carolyn Brodeur, I think that's our next picture, was promoted to assistant GM. There she is. And she's on Zoom right now, in addition to continuing her duties as communication manager. So a lot of internal promotions, which as a manager is nice to see that we can bring staff along and move them up in the chain as they go along. But we also had some new hires: Amy Jones as the second assistant clubhouse manager, Nathan Pacifico as banquet chef, and Kimberly Toon as community operations manager. Okay, communications. Worked alongside other departments and members to help promote amenities. As we lifted COVID restrictions, we were able to have more activities. Carolyn is at the lead with Lisa Nagshane leading Lake Currents. There's Lisa's picture. And Jamie McGuire heading up our website and information technology efforts. She was very instrumental in getting the new radio system for security this year. Some of the key statistics, we put out 25 Lake Currents. That's our standard offering, and it's available on the website as well. We had 5,622 emails that subscribers to our Clubhouse online emails. Over 4,000 tune in to our Facebook. Our website users were over 77,000. And our rained out text users were almost 1,300. That really took off during Winter Storm Frida. People wanted to know the latest on what was going on. And our goal is to provide the best communication services possible on many types of electronic and print media so we can accommodate our members' diverse communications styles. Okay, let's talk a little bit about security. Allied Universal Security is in its 10th year with LOA. Chief Richard Harrell, there's Chief Harrell on the screen. He replaced Chief Scott Walker, who had been with us from the beginning back in 2013, and he's doing very well. AUS did an excellent job handling high traffic periods over the summer, and they've come up with new procedures to get a large number of guests through the gates as smoothly as possible, especially during Thanksgiving and Independence Day Saturday. And as you know, we're looking for ways of improving the front gate with some construction, possibly in the next few years. No final project has been settled on, but in the meantime, they're helping us manage it and deal with it. Total main gate, back gate count for this year. I was surprised that it went down some. Approximately 2,430,000 cars went through, and that was approximately 100,000 less than the year before. And so we received 1,859,000 through the main gate, of which 610,000 were visitors. The back gate count was 571. So we looked over the data, and it didn't seem to be any anomalies, but it's just interesting that it went down 100,000 after gaining all these years. We continue to ask people to use the Tech Control phone app to manage your guests. The new thing now is when you send your guests the QR code so they can just hold up the phone and security can scan it and give them a dash tag and get in. And we try to have those transactions take 7 to 10 seconds if we can, just to keep things moving. So active users of Tech Control, 3,910 versus 3,200 last year. So we continue to see members using Tech Control, which is a good sign. Active barcodes went down some, but we also cleaned out a bunch of old ones. So we hope we prevented some entries by deleting and purging those. Lake Patrol was active on the lake, enforcing our rules and doing safety checks. And the AUS continued to work with Orange County Sheriff. We've got an excellent relationship there. The sheriff works with us hand in hand on items. So challenges ahead. We have a new modified Regulation 14 that's corrective actions for violations. That's being implemented now. In some respects, we're not using the $50 summons for some items. We're using summonses to Orange County District Court instead, although we still issue summonses for $50 summonses for speeding on the roads and for boat violations. But that's a big change. We covered that in the last late currents. Also, encouraging members to use tech control, that's an ongoing thing. And then right now we're looking at a potential night closure at the front gate to save money into the future. We could save approximately $50,000 a year if we close the gate from midnight to 6 a.m. in the morning. We only have approximately 3 visitors on average at night come through the gate at that time. So we're looking at a system called the All Box, where visitors could check themselves in, but we'll always have a road patrol officer. We have 2 road patrol officers on duty every night, and they would be there in case something happened. They could always open the gate to let someone in. That's invited, of course. All right. Also, hiring and retaining access control officers. That was a big challenge too, as we had trouble retaining staff. So did security. To keep talented people there for the pay that's available, and keeping them working. And there are so many rules to know here at Lake of the Woods, and for an access control officer that gets asked a ton of questions to handle, it's really important we have sharp people there at the front. All right, let's talk about the finance department. Finance department's led by Charlie Mandeville. Charlie's in the back helping with the vote count today. So when we say finance department, that includes the accounting department and member services. So they stayed focused on supporting the continued growth in the community and the changes that take place when you have all these new members. They improved several business systems this year. I mentioned earlier, there was a lot of transfer of accounts, and so that means new member cards, new barcodes, all the works, and making sure members understand the rules and regulations as best we can explain them to them. Lots of membership renewals, payment processing, and amenity registration activities was over the top as people came out of COVID and wanted to get more active again. The finance team continues to support the board's annual update to the replacement reserve study. And that's another healthy sign of a community. When you have a reserve study that's getting reviewed once a year, that there's always projects on the horizon, we have a financial plan to pay for them. It continues lowest fair but firm collection efforts, and I mentioned how low our delinquency is, and implemented new internal control procedures and continue to manage through the impacts of inflation. We're going to be talking about inflation again this year as we put together the budget. We made business system improvements, including outsourcing the annual assessment mailing process. We launched the use of a Square payment system at several amenities, and they've streamlined the monthly closing process, which allows us to see the financial numbers sooner. Here's some statistics as far as watercraft registration. There were 2,934 watercraft registered this year. That's down 11 from the previous year. And of those, 1,068 are powered and 1,866 are non-powered. So both stats are a little down from last year. Challenges ahead: keeping the assessment delinquency below 2%, managing the budget during these uncertain inflationary times, minimizing cash handling. That's a big step. We're trying to get away from cash at a lot of amenities. Developing staff, expanding automation, and improving member and amenity support and reporting. During these tough economic times, the department's there to work with members that fall behind and get them on a payment plan so they can avoid additional fees and potential collection costs. We'd hate to see that. All right, the maintenance department. Maintenance department is a big department, and they've got a lot going on. I'll try to hit some of the highlights. The buildings department maintains 72 buildings, and they oversaw some construction projects at the Equestrian Center and the Golf Center. They also did some energy conservation work, installing new LED lighting at the Equestrian Center Riding Ring, Clubhouse Restaurant, and Clubhouse Service Bar. They also oversaw a contractor who replaced the clubhouse roof. So you get a good roof, that roof's on there for 20 years, you don't have to deal with it going into the future. We also built a new freezer cooler at the Wood Center, which has helped tremendously with the offerings we have at Fairways. They also installed shade structures at the clubhouse pool and at the Sweetbriar pool, 4 at Clubhouse and 3 at Sweetbriar. And they're currently working on the tennis pickleball courts resurfacing. Sorry that's taken a little longer to get started, but it's underway. And they'll also install a new salt and sand storage building, which it's hard to appreciate on a hot day like this, but when we get to the winter months again, that'll be key. All right, so that's what the buildings department's done, quite a bit. Now, the grounds department, they maintain over 200 acres of common area, including the beauty spots at parks and buildings and entryways. And so they help beautify our community. Department works with the Garden Club on Arbor Day and also on ongoing clubhouse projects. They work with the Dog Club to maintain the dog park. They've installed 7 crabapple and elm trees along the walking trail down below Veterans Dam. So check that out. That'll be something that you see expand as we go on. They worked with tree contractors on golf course tree removal, the dead and dying trees on the golf course. They removed over 100 trees this year. All right, so that's grounds and the roads department. They maintain 41 miles of road and 80 miles of roadside ditches, and roads upgraded Trails End Road and Ramsey Beach parking lot from tar and chip to asphalt. And we're trying to do that on a limited basis as we have leftover money from tar and chip to slowly convert our roads over to asphalt. And they also oversaw a contractor that took care of the Lakeview Parkway resurfacing, and we've got another round of that coming up this month. And they replaced some key culverts at some key intersections. And they installed a walking lane on Lakeview Parkway between Fairway Drive and Birchside Circle. All right, health of our lakes remains an overarching concern, and the Director of Facilities, Bobby Jones, and Environmental Resources Manager, Nick Blankenship, there's Nick's picture, are leading a concentrated effort to combat nitrogen and phosphorus levels that are 3.55% the EPA standard in Keaton's Lake and 1.85% the EPA standard in the main lake. So we got our work cut out for us. The installation of Keaton Lake's new upgraded aeration system is a key thing. That happened this year, which is the first project in the AMT plan. The new system expanded the number of aerators from 8 to 12, and this updated system will increase dissolved oxygen, which is vital for the survival of aquatic organisms such as fish and microinvertebrates. Reducing nutrients and sediment from entering the lakes is vital to preserving the lake's health and water quality. And as I mentioned, the board adopted the new Lakes and Stormwater Management Plan, and over the next few months, we'll be setting out the priorities to decide which construction projects we'll take on over the next 5 years or so. The Patrick Henry Court to Small Marina Drainage Improvement Project is a key project, and it's in the final design, and we hope to see getting the permitting in the next few months and getting that project constructed in 2023. That will do a lot to prevent flooding on Lakeview Parkway, and also just handle all the runoff that's coming down from outside the gate into Hollyfield Park and down toward the small marina. All right, Environmental Resources also conducted bacteriological and algae monitoring of our lakes and front entrance pond throughout the swimming season, blue-green algae testing on Keaton's Lake, and E. coli testing at all the beaches to make sure they're below Virginia Department of Health's recommended thresholds. And the roads crew will continue to reconstruct sediment-filled ditches along the way. We've done quite a bit in the last couple of years to open up our ditches and make sure everything is running so it doesn't flood into the road or onto private lots. Dredging operations. You might find this interesting. We were on Keaton's Lake, and between April 22nd and June 7th, 2022, a total of 2,704 cubic yards of sediment and debris were removed from the lake. And operations are now taking place on and around Turtle Island on the main lake. LOA is removing excessive sediment accumulated over the years before Flat Run Forebay was installed a few years ago. All right, so let's turn to the community center. So there's a picture of Kimberly at the community center, our new communications operations manager, Kimberly Toon, and our new community operations lead, Daniela Campfield, have had an amazing summer. They've been supporting the Pools and Community Activities Committee with their many events, which included the Wine and Cheese Luau and the Pirates and Mermaids Day. Last year, community operations team hosted several events, including the Soggy Doggy Swim, the beer and pretzels at the pool. Chris Kindlemart in December had 40 vendors, and we expect that to be another hit again this year. The 2022 Independence Day celebration was fantastic. We had a new fireworks contractor who really hit it. I really felt the boom. I don't know if you did, man. I thought that they did a great job, and it was great to have all the activities back on the point again. We were back to being a community. Special thanks goes to Janet Klingensmith, who's in the audience with us, with her support and the year's events during a staff transition. Janet helped us out. Thank you so much, Janet. Kept us going. The community center is a busy center of activity with 40 clubs. We're Lake of the Clubs, aren't we? And 18 committees. We're also Lake of the Committees. And private parties, that's a really good sign. People are getting together and using our facilities, using their facilities. And we host the players, of course, and their performances and all sorts of special events. We've got a new electronic facility use request form, so we hope that streamlines the approval process. And we've got a monthly fitness center e-newsletter that's going out, and we've got some new activities coming up. It was community yoga in the park. So as of the August 31st, the fitness center membership is at 741, which is up 43 compared to the previous year. So members are returning to the fitness center as well. All right, both pools open on Memorial Day weekend with our new pool contractor, Winkler Pools, providing lifeguard and pool maintenance services. Our pools have accommodated 34,445 visitors this summer, which is an increase of 1,215 from the year before. So more people at the pool. Clubhouse pool concession was busy, and we expected to hit the 30,000 budget mark, which means lots of activity there. Challenges for the upcoming year will be the competition for space at the community center. It's just been growing in popularity, the impact of nationwide increases and supply chain issues, and we also want to update our music system at the Sweetbriar Pool. That's in the older, the pool's new, but the building is up for renovation in a couple of years. All right, at the golf center. There we go. There's Eric. We'll talk about Mike first, then we'll talk about Eric. Our golf maintenance contractor, IGM, has been with us since 2005. And Superintendent Mike Kuhn and his crew are keeping the golf course in excellent condition. Mike is leaving us in September to pursue another assignment in South Carolina with IGM, and Richard McNabb will take over. And this year, they worked on improving the turf all over the place, but we'd also taken down some key trees on the back nine, and trying to get the grass to knit in on those new areas in the back nine was an emphasis. So here we'll talk about Eric. Our new golf operations manager, Eric Barnes, and his team have been busy running the pro shop, hosting tournaments, and recruiting new annual members. And we are ahead of total revenue and on track to beat the $626,000 total revenues for the year. Golf rounds are approximately 22,000 as they've been in past recent years. Annual memberships was a big difference there. They total 208 right now, so that's 71 more members this year, and we credit the introductory golf membership in bringing in 78 new members. So one of the challenges going forward is, can we keep those 78 members on as annual members and find some new ones beyond them? Revenues are up they're up 597,000 from previous 486, and that was a gain of 111,000. Revenues are 124,000 favorable to budget. Expenses are 42,000 unfavorable to budget. So overall budget 82,000 positive variance. That was for the year that ended in April. So 82,000 positive variance for golf is a really good sign, and golf has done really well since COVID came along. Challenges, as I said, we want to retain those new members. We need to recruit and retain a PGA Golf Pro. We need to purchase and find a home for the golf simulator. and we'll take on the design and begin construction of the 10th Fairway project. We've got some pipe collapse on the 10th Fairway, and we want to improve the drainage there and also renovate the golf green. All right, Fairways Cafe. Revenues are recovering and poised to do the best year since the cafe ever opened. Top line sales for the current fiscal year are behind budget, $23,000 in July, but sales are recovering with additional sales from catering, golf outings, and other events such as Shoots and Fest in the fall. There you see Ryan Richardson's picture. A new menu is planned for October that will feature several new items along with the return of some old favorites. So you have to come out to find out exactly what those are. Led by Carletta Johnson, Fairways Cafe is poised to continue service to our members through new and upgraded menu options and live entertainment, and working closely with food and beverage director Ryan Richardson and golf manager Eric Barnes to attract tournaments and banquets. All right, at the clubhouse, revenues are strong with the COVID-19 restrictions being eased, and we hope to get back to the pre-pandemic sales. The current fiscal year, clubhouse is behind budget by $68,000, and we're making up for that by scheduling events in the fall and the winter, and we hope we'll make up for it. I mentioned earlier they've hired two new assistant managers, Sierra Longfellow and Amy Jones, and they're doing a fine job with restaurant and catering operations. I also mentioned we have restaurant chef Thomas Brady and banquet chef Nathan Pacifico working to have additional specials and unveiling new restaurant and catering menus for this fall. Upcoming events will include the Silvertones, Thanksgiving Day Buffet, Dinner with Santa, and New Year's Eve Gala, to mention just a few. The labor shortage has been a challenge with many employees working overtime in multiple positions at locations, and you've seen that all over the place when you go to restaurants, and we're just the same. Supply chain issues have resulted in cost of sales increase of more than 10%. And although we're beginning to see the supply chain problems ease and products become more available, we don't believe we're going to get back to those pre-pandemic prices. All right, next, horses. Bridget Hutchins is our manager there, and assistant manager is Sarah Stark, and the Equestrian Center staff care for 9 equines. Sarah joined the team in October 21 and is a welcome addition. The Equestrian Center is home to 3 Loa-owned horses, Patton, Prescott, and Ivy, 3 boarded horses, and 1 mule, Gunner, River, Barley, and Trace, and Trace is a mule, and 1 staff-owned horse, Cloud 9. Bridget and Sarah are keeping their eyes open in the horse market in hopes of finding their next unicorn. That is the perfect horse or pony for our center. LOA, through the Equestrian Center Committee, partnered with the Friends of Lake of the Woods to fundraise scholarships for LOA members to take 5 lessons at a time. This program had a great success and provided the opportunity for riders who otherwise wouldn't be able to. Bridget and Sarah greatly enjoyed getting to know all the young riders this summer. So what did the summer look like? Well, we had 50 different families participate in the summer pony camp. There was 7 sessions with 8 riders. 300 different families participated in the lessons of pony rides and trail rides. 400 different families have participated in the 4 horse shows. In fact, the June 2022 horse show was a record turnout of 343 entries in 49 classes compared to June 2021 with 116 entries in 35 classes. So we'll see if that continues over to the fall show. The Equestrian Center hosted May and June horse shows, and we look forward to the September 11th show and the year-end horse show on October 2nd. So just to take a minute and think about it, the big picture, the big challenges that we have ahead are to hire and retain staff, to develop non-assessment revenue sources, including our amenity revenue, and to resolve some of the main gate traffic issues. A lot of thanks goes to our board of directors, and they're sitting right here with us, and for all their good work. And congratulations to Pete Brown, Jennifer Zukowski, and Cliff Wilkes on your successful terms of service. We appreciate each of you and your significant contribution of time and talent. We thank you very much. And all right. Go to the next slide. There we go. There they are. Thanks also to the management team and the operations center managers. You've seen some of their pictures along the way to help make this year a great success. Thank you also to you as members for your contributions. You write to the board, you write to membership, you comment, and let us know what you think about how we're managing your community. So we appreciate the feedback. And I thank you for your kind attention this morning. If you have a question, please submit it on a card, and the president and I will respond to it. Thanks again.
Okay, in just a moment, I'm going to introduce the Honors and Awards Committee, but before I do that, I forgot to thank Linda Brooks, our recorder. Linda, if you've ever had the pleasure of sitting through a 3-hour meeting and trying to write everything down and get it to make sense, she does it so well every time. When you read the minutes on the Lake of the Woods webpage, man, that was so smooth, because she made it look that way. Thank you, Linda. Okay, I'd like to call Helen Brewer, the chair of the Honors and Awards Committee, and her team. They're going to present this year's Honors and Awards. So, and you can use this or hand hold it, however you want to do it, Helen.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, members of the board, the general manager, our board recorder, members of the Lake of the Woods Association, and any guests that are present. We are very, very glad that you are here. The Honor Awards Committee is tasked with soliciting, compiling, and creating awards for members of our Lake of the Woods Association who have been nominated by fellow members of the Lake of the Woods Association. This is what our committee, comprised of Nancy Cronin and Keith Neely, and myself, have tried to do. Our task was supported, encouraged, and facilitated by the board, especially Pete Brown, who was our board liaison, Cliff Wilkes, and Terry Vickery. Also our general manager and his association staff, Lori Trocchio, Carolyn Brodeur, and Jamie McGuire. I never fully appreciated, for the 13 years I've lived here, all of the behind-the-scenes work that is done by the staff, and truly are very grateful for all that they have done to support us, and I'm sure all the other committees, so they deserve a lot of praise. As a committee, we are not permitted to nominate people. It is not our role. But I do think our role includes expressing gratitude and appreciation on behalf of and for our members. And so I would like to recognize a group, and I'm recognizing the group because Pete already stole my thunder and recognized the individuals. But I would like to recognize a group of individuals who have given hours, days, months of time in many, 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 many meetings, reading countless documents, listening to our suggestions, our proposals, and many, many no, Lake of the Woods people never complain, right? No complaints. All right. And they have done this solely for the purpose of trying to keep and make our Lake of the Woods community the wonderful place that it is. So please join me in showing gratitude and appreciation for all of these people. And now the Honor Awards. I told the recipients that all would be revealed this morning, so here we are. The awards presented today are given for a variety of reasons, and there are 4 categories that we are using for this purpose today. The first is the Certificate of Appreciation. It is a general award that recognizes the unsung heroes of our community. These are people who enrich our lives with their many acts of kindness. The second group will be the Outstanding Service Award, which recognizes those who have gone above and beyond what is normally expected of a volunteer. They contribute selflessly to the general welfare and quality of life of our Lake of the Woods community. The third is the Community Service Group Award, which recognizes a club or an organization that has provided some special service or who has had a marked impact on Lake of the Woods or the surrounding community. The fourth award is called the Warren J. Lodge Award, and it is named for the general manager of the association from 1980 to 1992. He was known for his contributions to the Lake of the Woods community, but also for establishing a positive reputation for our community in Orange County and the surrounding areas. He was greatly appreciated and respected, and thus the award named for him. This award is given to a person who has followed in his footsteps by continuing to serve in our community, but also maintaining and growing our positive reputation in Orange County and the surrounding areas. At this time, we finally get to the most important part. Keith Neely and Nancy Cronin will announce the recipients of this year's honor awards.
Good morning. My name is Keith Neely, and I'll be reading the reasons for the Certificate of Appreciation being given to these award recipients. A Certificate of Appreciation is awarded to Jordy DeBoer. Please come forward. As president of LOW Adaptive Water Sports, Jordy plans and executes many charitable events each year at Lake of the Woods. These events are for children and veterans with different types of disabilities, so they can spend a day on the lake full of water activities. The adaptive water sports events on the lake are free of charge to everyone due to Jordy's year-long fundraising efforts and teamwork with the board of directors. Fundraisers range from selling affordable boats to the Lake of the Woods members at the LOW Adaptive Shop or on Route 20, or to selling beautiful fern plants near the front gate. Jordy's efforts, along with his team of many volunteers, provide opportunities and fulfillment of dreams for disabled children, veterans, and their families. Thank you and congratulations, Jordy. Okay. A certificate of appreciation is awarded for David Florence. Please come forward. No, okay, you're good, man. According to Dave's neighbor, he is the go-to person. Noticing the beach rules signs were faded and out of date, he mobilized with LOA and neighbors' input to update the beach rules signs at all LOW beaches. He even installed the new Pleasant Grove beach sign himself. Dave worked with LOA to get permission for him to personally install stairs near the bulkhead of the lake after he saw how difficult it was for some people to get in and out of the water. Dave takes time to personally plant and care for seasonal flowers by the entrance in the terrace section. He does not stop raking or removing snow at his property line, but continues to help his neighbors, even keeping a watchful eye on homes and properties when the neighbors are on vacation. He attends LOA committee meetings and shares what he learns with the neighborhood. Thank you and congratulations, Dave. A certificate of appreciation is awarded to Betty Hughes. This award is being accepted by Linda Suffin for Betty. Please come forward. Betty was a volunteer for Orange County Humane Society of Virginia for many years. She continues to remain active in animal welfare. Each week, Betty provides pet food to the Wilderness Food Bank. She uses donations or purchases with the help of the Humane Society. She sorts large bags of dry pet food into gallon-sized bags. This allows pet owners without the means or access to food to continue to feed their pet. Even through the dark days of COVID, Betty did not miss a week. Her volunteer efforts helped many pets and their owners remain a family. Thank you and congratulations, Betty. And on behalf of- All right, a certificate of appreciation is awarded to Cecil Hurst. Please come forward. In addition to a giving heart, Cecil has a large garden where he grows fruits and vegetables. He grows them not for himself, but for others. He sets the bounty of tomatoes, squash, watermelon, peppers, cucumbers at the end of his driveway for anyone to enjoy. Neighbors have tried to pay him for the beautiful produce, but he won't accept money in return. He says his payment is the joy he gets from planting seeds, growing crops, and sharing them with others in the Lake of the Woods community. Thank you. Congratulations. A certificate of appreciation is awarded to Darcy Jennings. Please come forward. If you have ever seen some of the beautiful gift baskets used by the Lioness Club or the Child Help Auxiliary for fundraisers, then you know the diverse goodies each extravagantly sculpted basket holds. That's a mouthful. Many of these baskets are the creation and craftsmanship of Darcy Jennings. Darcy works all year long to find treasures to create the magnificent baskets. She then builds masterful baskets on a variety of topics with themes that are always a huge hit and a big seller at the club's charity events. Like Santa's elves, Darcy is seen working late into the evenings in her workshop. As a result of her tireless work and exceptional creativity, she brings the donations to the benefit the entire Lake of the Woods community. Thank you and congratulations, Darcy. A certificate of appreciation is awarded to William and Laura Lukacek. Please come forward. Laura and Bill Lukacek are true examples of how Lake of the Woods neighbors care for one another. In January, during the biggest snowstorm we have seen in a long time, Laura and Bill heard their neighbors were stranded and unable to return home. They selflessly plowed their neighbor's long circular driveway and 8 steps up the front porch. When their neighbors were finally able to return home, they were welcomed by being able to drive down the street, up the long driveway, park, and walk up to their front door without any signs of snow or the dreaded ice. Lake of the Woods celebrates these thoughtful neighbors. Thank you and congratulations, Laura and Bill. Thanks. A certificate of appreciation is awarded to Alan Priester. Please come forward. For 3 years, Alan Priester has served on the Lower Community Communications Committee by attending its meetings as a liaison for the Planning Committee and providing accurate and useful information. He has diligently and professionally kept the Communications Committee informed of Planning Committee activities. He has underscored the importance of the Communications Committee's role in interfacing with many Planning Committee projects, such as the membership survey and the land use study. As a voting member, he played an instrumental role in the LOW committee fair and the update of its charter. Alan is appreciated for his loyal, untiring, and dedicated service to the Communications Committee. Thank you and congratulations, Alan. A certificate of appreciation is awarded to Terry Joe Smith. Please come forward. Terry is a board member of the Orange County Humane Society of Virginia. She is responsible for trapping, neutering, and vaccinating and return program of feral and homeless cats in Orange County. She also coordinates the Pets in Place program, which provides financial assistance to low-income citizens for pet medical expenses. This allows the pets to remain with their owners in their home. Terry spends over 30 hours a week taking phone calls from desperate citizens, picking up litters of kittens under porches, and using her patience and passions to help the animals. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you.
A certificate of appreciation is awarded to Jay Testa. Please come forward. The snow and ice that crippled our area in January did not slow down Jay Testa. He gave his time and his effort helping multiple Lake of the Woods maintenance crews cut and remove many downed trees that were blocking the roads. This work allowed emergency services to be able to move around the community. Jay also contributed many hours removing snow and ice throughout the community. Neighbors like Joe are unsung heroes. Thank you. Congratulations.
Good morning. My name is Nancy Lawton Cronin, and I will be reading the reasons for the recipients receiving the Outstanding Service Awards. So the trophy for Outstanding Service is given to Steve Kane. Would you please come forward? So here's a question. Who's been president of the Men's Golf Association for the past 2 years and the driving force behind those trivia nights at the Fairways Cafe? Answer?
This guy.
Steve Kane. They're a lot of fun. Under Steve's guidance, the Men's Golf Association has increased its memberships by 151 members with 33% more paying members. He has upgraded the database so the electronic group communication is easier, more efficient, and up to date. Steve has been chairing the annual golf tournament fundraiser for the Fisher House Foundation. That's an organization which supports veterans' families during times of medical need. Each year for the past 2 years, Lake of the Woods has exceeded their fundraising goal and donated $18,000 annually. This not only helps the Fisher House Foundation families, but it also creates a positive image for Lake of the Woods golf, both in and outside of our community. Thank you. Congratulations, Steve. The trophy for outstanding service is given to Biff Glidden. Would you please come forward? So Biff was instrumental in establishing the Lake of the Woods Church's on-air production of services, making them available on YouTube for those who could not attend church in person. Every Sunday, he's the camera operator and supports the audio ministry at the church. Biff has also been involved in the Home Helps Ministry, where he used his expertise in many projects, such as he took the lead in moving laundry facilities from the basement to the first floor of an elderly woman unable to use stairs. He installed a lift in a garage for an invalid unable to leave his home. He's designed and built many wheelchair ramps and members for Lake of the Woods community. He's also, for over the past 2 years, he's been the sound technician who I had the privilege of helping, not really, at Foxfire for the Lake of the Woods players, helping them to make the actors and production sound wonderful for the audience. Thank you, and congratulations. The trophy for outstanding service is given to Jane Holtmeyer. Would you please come forward? So as soon as Jane moved to Lake of the Woods, she immersed herself in activities. She joined the women's tennis groups and took on the arduous task of scheduling regular tennis games and synchronizing dozens of players' calendars. She became a member of the Lake of the Woods Finance Committee and was voted in as chair. Using her economics background, she worked with the Lake of the Woods board and management and provided her expertise on the lake's budget and many budgetary issues. She's an active Lions Club member and volunteered to manage its food pantry home delivery service. And Jane also became the treasurer for Child Help Auxiliary and managed the budget for special events, birthday gifts, outings, field trips, and parties for this group of needy children. She worked with the staff of Child Help to set up a reading buddy program for those children who needed extra help. And Jane was selected as president of the Child Help Auxiliary during COVID. However, she did not let the quarantine shut down her money-raising activities. She still managed to provide funds that helped the children. And after her tenure as president, she became treasurer again. Jane has an amazing work ethic and works tirelessly to help members in Lake of the Woods and its surrounding community. Thank you, Jane. The trophy for outstanding service is given to Hollis Hansen. Mary Wilkes will receive the award on Hollis's behalf. Thank you. So for over 7 years, Hollis has been a member of the Lake of the Woods Cause for Paws organization, helping those capture feral or lost cats, giving them proper medical attention, and finding them forever homes. She's fostered many cats arranged for veterinarian technicians to provide medical care at her home, as well as use her own house for storing and food supplies. Hollis has spent time using Pet Finder to create, if you've ever been to Pet Finder, it's a really nice place to find animals, to create profiles for the animals so they can get loving homes. So with Hollis's help, Cause for Paws has become more efficient in taking care of the needs of many cats and kittens, getting them adopted, while also raising money for the organization. Thank you again. And tell Hollis congratulations. The trophy for outstanding service is given to Stan Lassover. Would you please come forward? Stan loves a parade. So much so that he has managed the Lake of the Woods Association Independence Parade for 7 years. This includes his countless hours in planning and coordinating with Lake of the Woods administration, security, maintenance, clubs, organizations both in and out of the lake. He communicated with each club's contact person in order to make this family fun event occur. He created the parade lineup to ensure the parade moves smoothly with minimal backups. After the halt COVID put on Lake of the Woods activities, Stan took the initiative to bring back and manage the 2022 parade this past July. This year's parade had more entries than any other Lake of the Woods parade to date. It took an enormous amount of organization and time. Thanks to Stan, this loved tradition came back strong and was a huge success.
Thank you.
Thank you and congratulations. The trophy for outstanding service is given to Karen Woods. Would you please come forward? Right here. Stand here and get your photo taken. Karen is the current president of the Lake of the Woods Ladies Golf Association. She was instrumental in increasing membership to almost 100 members. With her easy leadership style, she guided members through difficult management issues, new computer challenges, and COVID. She's been busy planning the 50th anniversary to the Ladies Golf Association with many extra events. As an active member of the Lake of the Woods Association Golf Committee, she keeps the lady golfers informed and was a key player in revising the local golf rules and educating everyone on the handicapping system. Did I say that right? Handicap, all right. So Karen has fun off the golf course too. She is the vice president of the Lake of the Woods Child Help Auxiliary, where she focuses on providing fun, enriching experiences for the children of the Alice C. Tyler Village in Lingham. Even during COVID, she managed her fun focus with the children. She was nicknamed the Party Lady for both remote and in-person fun. I want to compliment that.
Child help. That's
Oh, shoot.
my only part.
Thank you, and congratulations.
Well, thanks so much. Thank you.
The trophy for outstanding service by a community service organization is given to the Lake of the Woods vets, represented by the President, Colonel United States Army, retired Mike Ferguson. Would you please come forward? Thank you. Since the Lake of the Woods Veterans Club was founded, it's been instrumental in keeping Lake of the Woods veterans informed and engaged in veterans issues through monthly presentations. In addition, the club offers color guard presentations at funeral services for deceased members and annually hosts the Memorial Day and Veterans Day commemorations. As president, with his fellow veterans, Mike has kept these traditions alive. Thank you and congratulations, Mike, and all of our veterans. I'm going to ask Mike, could you please stay here?
All right, you stay. That's right here. And in conjunction with this award, a certificate of appreciation is given to Ted Krabisky, Lieutenant Colonel, United States Army, retired. Mike Landers, who could not be with us, Captain, United States Navy, retired. And Fred Pullis, Senior Chief Petty Officer, United States Navy, retired. This,
Everyone's good to see you.
this past Memorial Day, there was a special dedication ceremony for the new Veterans Memorial Walkway located at the clubhouse entrance. I'm having a hard time because I don't have my glasses on. All right. It includes the historical Korean veterans plaque and a walkway which allows residents to honor their family's veterans. The memorial walkway required much research, planning, coordination, and collaboration. The result is from the work of many hands. However, there were a core group of veteran club members that should be acknowledged: Mike Landers, Ted Krabisky, and Fred Pullis. These men worked closely with Lake of the Woods Garden Club and Lake of the Woods administration to get the walkway completed. This commemorative walkway will be a community treasure for many years and is a demonstration of the community's appreciation of the contribution of the veterans to our nation. Thank you and congratulations, Ted, Mike, and Fred. Mike can't make it today because of COVID, so So we thank you.
Mike Landers couldn't make it here, but thanks for all your support.
If you haven't had a chance to look at the walkway, it's really lovely. So the final award is the Warren J. Lodge Award for Excellence. This is an award given to an individual who has excelled in promoting local community interests and has significantly enhanced the image of Lake of the Woods in Orange County and surrounding areas. This year, the trophy is given to Mary Lou McFarland. Come on down. Come on down. No, no. Here. We got too much for you to hold. Oh, no, you got to stay. Unless you want to sit. You can sit whatever you better. It's a long thing to read. No. Mary Lou McFarland has serviced the Lake of the Woods community and Orange County for over 20 years. She was the founder and first president of the Lake of the Woods Child Help Auxiliary and continues to serve as a reading buddy while also organizing monthly outings at the Alice C. Tyler Village. She served 2 terms as district representative to the Rappahannock-Rapidan Community Service Board, providing needed mental health and educational resources for 5 counties. Mary Lou was an early member of the Lake Youth Foundation, where she created and taught the Super Sitters Babysitter training class. She also chaired a scholarship committee and was named Orange County's Garris Huff Outstanding Youth Advocate. She served as program chair and treasurer for Lake of the Woods Garden Club. She's been an active lioness, chairing the Germana Scholarship Committee and serving as program chair for Tail Twister. She continues to chair the Lioness Christmas Giving Program for the Rappahannock-Rapidan Community Service Board. And in addition, Mary Lou formed and still presides over the Turtle Island Book Club group. It is due to her distinguished service as a representative of Lake of the Woods in so many areas that we are honored to award Mary Lou McFarland with the Warren J. Lodge Award for Excellence. Thank you. Congratulations.
In closing, I'd like to thank all of you for being here today to honor so many of our very fine neighbors. Those who took the time and effort to nominate these fine folks also deserve our thanks. Donna Blackstone, Charles Brewer, Karen Kakorkas, James Corsones, Nadine Daniel and the Low Communications Committee, William Derryberry, Ann and Allie Felder, Bob Fritz, Kathy Bonneville Hicks, Dan McFarland, Nicole Pappas, Jean and Daniel Porter, Thomas Prine, William Smith, Mary Wilkes, John Urechko. We also want to thank Carrie Neely, who did the hard work of baking, buying, and providing the food and drink for the reward recipients' reception. We hope that this committee, it is the hope of this committee that you have been inspired by these recipients and motivated to be as selfless as they. We look forward to those you may nominate for next year's awards, and maybe you will even want to join our committee to help process them. We could use your help. Thank you, and now I hand the baton to Pete Brown, president of our association, for 2 more days.
Thank you, Helen, Nancy, and Keith. A lot of work went into what you did, and it is greatly appreciated by all of us, and obviously greatly appreciated by those who won the awards. Thank you so much. I have a quick announcement. 2 members, are you in attendance? Arlene Rich and Sandra Hoffman, are you in attendance today? You were named as proxies. In order for the votes to count, for which you were named proxy, we need you to sign this sheet. Arlene Rich, Sandra Hoffman, are you here? Okay. Elections Committee, they do not appear to be in attendance, so those votes, unfortunately, will not count. It is stressed over and over, if you name someone as a proxy to vote on you, in your stead, you have to have them show up. You need to tell them you've done so they will show up. So unfortunately, the two people who know them, name them, will not count. Thank you. Terry.
So like the Honors Committee, I get to do something fun, which is say thank you to Jennifer and Pete for their service. Oh, and Cliff, now that they're all leaving. And let's see, we'll start with Jennifer, who's done 6 years, 2 as secretary, 2 as vice president, 1 as president. This year she took a break. She's only a director. So thank you, Jennifer, for everything that you have done. Other gifts? I think I'm supposed to give you something, but I don't have it. Then we've got Cliff, which I know I can't even get the math right. So Cliff was on the board for 3 years, of which his first year he was vice president, and his next 2 years he was president. Right? If that wasn't enough, then he said, okay, I'm done. But someone resigned, and he was called back. Served, I think, about another 9 months or 10 months. And then after that, ran again and served this year with us. And believe it or not, decided to run again, so we'll find out at the end of today whether or not he continues to serve. As Pete said before, what Cliff brings to the table is just an amazing amount of knowledge of how the process is supposed to work. You know, how you make motions and what is and isn't appropriate. And, you know, we always look to him as, you know, are we allowed to do it this way? So thank you, Cliff, for everything. And then as Pete mentioned, he has done 4 years. For the first year, he got the booby prize of only being on the board for 1 year. And then he decided to run again. He will tell you that his big mistake when he did that was he forgot to tell his wife first. But so that's probably why he didn't run again this time. But Pete has been a great person to work with. I have really enjoyed being vice president with him. You know, the guidance that he has given me has just been wonderful. He is even-tempered, and he really knows how to listen to people and then provide feedback and get things done. So thank you very much, Pete. Okay. Do we have gifts for them? Oh, okay, great. They're beautiful plants, peace plants.
Thank you all so much. All right, so giving out the awards is probably the most wonderful thing about being here at Lake of the Woods, and I get to do the last one. So, all right. This year's President's Award, I have to look back. So much happened this year. So many people worked so hard. All of our committees, rewriting charters, people doing heavy lifting all around us, and working groups that Phil had formed to look at things like the front gate. All of this, so many people doing so much work. It was just extremely hard to pick. Then I started thinking back, just how could I pick one person out of so many? One name kept popping up, someone who volunteered for things that hadn't even been asked for. That was one of the things I thought, wow, that was amazing. I was vice president last year. Following COVID, the Youth and Community Activities Committee had nothing to do. The kids weren't involved, couldn't do anything, and they kind of fell apart and disbanded. I tried to reorganize them. I called everyone, said, let's have a meeting, and the former Community Activities Director, myself, arranged a meeting, and we set out here under the shelter. And I got to the meeting about 5 minutes late, which is usually not my thing. I'm usually there on time because I had another meeting. We have a lot of meetings around here. But the community activities director, myself, and one person showed up. That person was not on the community and youth activities. That person was the chair of the pools committee at the time. Well, we sat there and said, now what are we going to do? And the person spoke up and said, you know, I think my committee could handle this because we do a lot of crossover anyway. And so they said she would go back to her committee and say, could we adopt all of the duties of the community youth activities into our charter, and began that process. She raised her hand figuratively, literally, and expanded the thing. So then earlier this year, when the communications director left and the role was assigned, what's that? Community center, yes, left, and the assistant was offered the job. After consideration, decided not to take it. We had no one. Phil mentioned earlier that Janet Klingesmith stepped in to fill the role. Janet, would you please come up here? Stand here for just a moment. She said, I can do it, multiple times. She took the job, and while we got new people in place, ran the show here for us, and has just been an absolutely wonderful person to work with. I can't think of anyone who deserves the President's Award more than Janet Klingensmith. This is your certificate. And this is a little something else. Thank you, Janet. Would you like to say anything? Thank you for all you've done for us. Ladies and gentlemen, this is, she was the go-to person. The Can-Do Award right there, Janet Klingesmith. Thank you so much. All right. Now back to some business. Phil, you and I are going to answer some questions. Okay. These are, yeah, tell.
Well, Mr. President, we got a bumper crop of 6 questions.
Oh.
And usually we get 2 or 3, so this is quite a number. So, so the first one has to do with the annual meeting, and let me get my glasses. It says this is a meeting for members where can the time and date be amended to a time to allow more members to attend, and what is the board doing to encourage more participation among the members? So let me take on the first part. You can think about the second part if you would. All right, so the time and date of the annual meeting is mentioned in the bylaws, and the bylaws say the annual meeting is supposed to be on Labor Day Monday at 10 o'clock. The bylaws can be amended and by a board vote. So this is something that's been brought up in the past. Should we move the annual meeting to another time and date? We could do it. The board could amend it. In the articles of incorporation, it just says look to the bylaws, and the bylaws set the date and time. So we could move it. I think traditionally, because we were a recreational community that people came to on the weekends, the thought was we wanted to try to get all the members that don't live on property to be here for the weekend activities, including the annual meeting. So yes, it's possible. Yes, we can move it. We just have to go through our amendment process. So what is the board doing to encourage more members to participate in the annual meeting?
Other than going door to door, let's see. We have tried to do this seriously in the past. We have Saturday meetings. That was brought up as people who work can't get here during the daytime during the week. So we did Saturday meetings. Those are very, very sparsely attended, other than the people presenting reports. We tried evening meetings, 7 o'clock, later 6 o'clock. Not a whole lot. We'll open to suggestions, but every time we've tried different meetings, now we have had more, neither of them none of them have yielded much more results. Zoom meetings now, the fact that we're doing some on Zooms has increased some participation. While they're not visible here in the room, we do have people attending by Zoom most of the time. But again, open to suggestions.
I think that's a good point about the Zoom participation. That's really changed how we do business here. We've got members that can tune into a meeting, be doing something else, mute their side of the equation and listen, and then come in during member comments. So I'd say full use of Zoom, which takes staff to support, has been a key part. But we do vary the times of the meetings. We have Saturday meetings. That's a traditional time. We have Wednesday afternoon meetings, and at times we have evening meetings. But as you said, it doesn't really seem to change the number of people. It doesn't really seem to change the mix. It seems to me like, in my experience, members get involved when it's something that really affects them. They're going to make time to come out, or they're going to communicate with the board members ahead of time. But it's something we can think about, and something I know it's important to the board to try to make sure they get lots of feedback from members, especially when we go through the rulemaking process. We want to get good feedback. All right.
Let me add one more comment there. I had a member once, I talked with a member about participation. He said, you know, by and large, I'm quite happy with the way things are going. So as Phil just mentioned, if there's something controversial, then you get bigger crowds than normal business. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for that question. All right, second question. We represent 23.5% of the county population, but we don't have a formal Parks and Recreation program. Why is that, and do we plan to change that? I would say the short answer is roles. Our role of a community is more of a facilitator. We facilitate things. We have buildings to bring people together. We bring people together, but we don't necessarily run programs. Could we change our setup so that we have a formal program where we have staff that run things? As I look across the country at large communities such as ours, I do see that. That is one model we could go to. But as I said, traditionally we've been more facilitator. So we'll continue to do that. We don't have any big plans to change things. We have the community activities staff here that can facilitate. We have the pools and community activities committee that has brought people together. The Youth Foundation has events that we help support, but not a formal program. I guess that we would also want to talk to the county. Do they have any plans and more of a presence in this area? They've got an active Parks and Rec program. But what would you add anything to that, Pete?
Running most of the time in a county organization, there are staff people on a county that oversee such programs. For instance, I got involved where I used to live with trying to get the women's softball to change from slow pitch to fast pitch. All of that is coordinated by paid members. So that would be something that we would have to look at, an expansion of staff if we were to try to do such a thing. Okay.
So it's really, what do you want your community to do? Do you want us to facilitate, or do you want us to run it? So a lot of input would need to come from members for us to change our roles in our facilitation role right now. Okay, third question. What is LOA doing to resolve the issue with the amount of trouble teenagers seem to be getting into? You want to take that one first?
Well, there's a couple of things. A very active neighborhood watch program is most helpful. We had an incident even as late as yesterday where some kids were trying to scale the fence at the pickleball tennis courts while construction was going on. A very alert member said, hey, please don't do that. Sometimes the parents aren't really helpful, as was the case yesterday. Why are you questioning my kids for climbing over the fence into a construction site? So neighborhood watch is certainly helpful, and security is on alert. They're here. We have 24-hour patrol. Call them. If you see something, say something, and that's really the key. The more eyes we have on situations, we have somewhere over 900 teenagers here. Believe it or not, like Lake Wobegon used to say, the men are strong, and the women are good looking, and all of the children are above average. There are a few that aren't sometimes that get into trouble. And being a teenage boy once upon a time, 108 years ago, I also got in trouble sometimes. So it's just keep an eye out and try to help. But if you see something, say something, call our security.
All right. To that, I would add security. Our security force has an officer, Captain Tabitha Hensley, who is on point for youth issues. And if we can identify somebody that's trespassing, getting into trouble, looking like they're going to create some issues, we usually have Tabitha talk to them and try to talk them out of that and get them through that time period. So again, we don't really have a formal youth program other than the committee, Pools and Community Activities Committee putting out activities. It would be a change of roles for us to do any more than that. All right, so that's the third question. The fourth one is, if we change policies, can the policy be changed at the end of the season? And I would say a policy can be changed anytime as long as you go through the rulemaking process. So without going through all the steps, it would need to be introduced to the board. It would need to go to the rules and LOA attorney. It would need to go, well, I mean, I'm telling you all the steps. And it need to be put out for member comment, and then the board would have to decide, are we ready to adopt this? So policies can be changed anytime. It takes about 2 months to change one, unless we want to change our key governing documents, such as our restrictive covenants or the articles of incorporation. That takes a member vote. The board can't change those. So anything you'd want to add to that one?
I would assume that this was some reference to seasonal activities.
Right.
And so that's,
Right.
We certainly try to take that into consideration when we're looking at rules, but that's something we obviously can pay attention to.
And every year, we look at how the season went, and is there something we could do a little better, change the offerings around. So, we want to hear from you, get some feedback. I tend to think of like the boating season. How'd the boating season go? And not the voting season, but the boating season. And could it be improved? Okay, I hope I gave you a good feedback on that one. What is the status of the certificate of insurance for soccer? Is there a way that kids can play until the issue is resolved? And I would say yes. And I would say I'd like to get, we've been trying to contact the ORA and to see if we can sign some sort of a hold harmless agreement. Insurance certificates are important, a way we do business here at the association to protect the membership. And of course, we want to see soccer fields used. We want to get soccer players out there on the fields, and anything I can do to try to resolve that in the short run. I'm not really sure why the COI is taking so long. Perhaps they're changing insurance provider or something, but it's supposed to come in at mid-month, but I'm sure we can figure out a way to get them on the field in the meantime.
And just to comment on insurance, the Lake of the Woods Low Arts has just recently purchased insurance. Phil once said there's nothing inherently dangerous about looking at art, but now that they have adopted paint and sip type of activities, children's painting workshops, et cetera, it was necessary. Our Lake of the Woods players have recently also purchased insurance. Everyone should have insurance.
My dad was an insurance underwriter. If you'd like to get with me afterwards and talk about insurance, I'd be glad to go through it. But the whole idea is if everybody carries the insurance, that it protects the association. And we're talking about groups that use our community activities, our community amenities. Okay, can something be done about feral cats? There's a group of them near the golf course that are multiplying. And there's also a follow-up question, but we'll do that one first. Feral cats?
We heard from someone who won an award for trying to help take care of and neuter feral cats. So thank you so much for your efforts. That work does continue here, so thank you.
I think the key is coordination with animal control. There's a group in the community called FOWL that cares a lot about animals. And I think all of us just coordinate the best we can to try to resolve problems as they come up during the year. Living next to the national park, we've got all kinds of animals that come in and visit us, don't we? So feral cats are among those. Okay, follow-up question. Why are people outside of LOA allowed in for the fireworks? The crowd is so huge. All right, so one thing to be clear, and I suppose sometime in the past this happened where the gate was open and anyone was allowed to come in, but you have to be an invited guest to come to the fireworks. You have to be a guest of a member to come in, and that's why security spends so much time to try to filter everybody coming through. Now, can somebody walk in to this community? There's probably ways you can get in to experience the fireworks show, but members and their guests are invited to fireworks. It's not a public opening. Anything more you want to add on that?
Phil referred to sometimes the gates open, that when the state police or the sheriff's office says you have to open the gates because the traffic is so backed up, someone might get in, but even then they're checking the cars. So strays walking in, to be clear, everyone must be invited into Lake of the Woods. And this was a last minute question.
Okay, did we get through all these?
Yes.
Yeah, we
think
did?
so. Mhm. That's your,
Oh, wow, we got through them all.
and
Okay,
now,
I
the
thought we
last
had one.
minute entry.
All right, I haven't read it yet.
Wait,
You want to read
I-
it?
well, I can. Let's see.
All right, give us your best radio voice,
Oh,
Pete.
God. Ladies and gentlemen, no. I got fired from my very first radio job because the guy said, "You just sound like a nervous wreck." Then my second radio job in Brockton, Massachusetts, someone asked me, "Where are you from, Alabama?" So yeah. I switched to engineering, later to sales. I was not good on the radio. This weekend, security required an individual engaged in political canvassings to cease and desist. As far as I can tell, there is no regulation prohibiting this. Regulation 4B1 prohibits solicitation except in certain circumstances. However, under no legal or dictionary definition of solicitation would political canvassing with no funds involved be considered solicitation. What is the basis for security stopping someone in election season from trying to inform voters and get out the vote? You want to take the first shot at that one?
All right, yes, our security force does not allow political canvassing door to door. I would just say at the very base, we want to work with members. So if there's a member that wants to do this, please come and talk to us. This is the basis of how we do things here. It's members and their guests, members and their invited guests. But we've had the parties show us court cases that don't apply to us. We're a common interest community. We're not a local government. And so we're still a private community, and we believe that our regulations do prohibit door-to-door canvassing, and we've relied on our attorneys to make sure that we're on firm ground as we've talked to the parties. But I would say it's important that if there's a member that wants to do something, please come to us. We work with people every day to work out things that they want to do. And I would just say the tradition in this community is not to have people go door to door. And my warning that I always say is you may make it worse for yourself as you go around. But the members need to come talk to us. That's the basis. But as I said, we do rely on our attorneys to keep us on the right side of the law. And we do believe we're on the right side of the law.
Thank you. And just one other comment with regard to political type of activities. Different political parties can reserve space to host events. So
That's a really good point, Pete. We facilitate things. So there are gatherings at homes. You can come to the clubhouse. You can come to the community center to arrange those kinds of get-togethers, and that's what we try to remind people. Why don't you have a get-together? Why don't you get out to the park and get one of the pavilions? And the parties do take advantage of that. So, good point.
very good. Okay, so where are we now here?
So we don't take comments from the
We
floor.
can't
It has to be a
take it from the floor. Can't.
Okay.
Yeah, so where are we at?
We're doing it. We're ready for.
I guess, so Okay. A couple of announcements of upcoming meetings. Next announcement, a meeting of the Board of Directors Wednesday, September 7th, here at the Community Center, 9 a.m. This will be for the purpose of the new board reconstituting itself. After that, the next regular meeting of the board, special meeting for the purpose of a retreat to include the annual legal briefing, Tuesday, September 13th, and Thursday, September 15th at 9 p.m. through Thursday, September 15th. 3-day meeting. It's so much fun to be on the board at that time of year. Regular Board of Directors meetings, Wednesday, September 21st at the Community Center at 2 p.m. Let me just say, I have thoroughly enjoyed serving on the Board of Directors. It has been an honor and a privilege to do so. And I leave, I will miss the work, but it's time for the next persons to take over. Now, however, let me close the voting. Is there anyone here who has not voted? You're a little late, you said 10:15. Voting is closed. The results are very close. Sadly, they're so close that it will be 24 hours before we can announce them. It's 24 hours before we can get the electronic final count. We have counted all the paper ballots here. So I guess, Phil, we will announce that through an email blast. I hate to keep everyone in suspense, but that our bylaws require, if it's within a certain number of votes, we have to check it again. So that'll be 24 hours before the final results are available. So I hate that. Any rate, been there, done that. Yeah, we've done it before. So could we have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Right there. Motion, second over here. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anybody who would like to stay and oppose us, say no. None. We are adjourned. Thank you.